Chapter 23 Poison Maidens. Alien activity is similar to black magic practices in many ways. In black magic type witchcraft, not the naturalistic magic practices by nature worshippers, certain toxins, poisons and implants are inserted into the victim by the use of pushpins, soot and ointments, curse pins, crystals, nail pins and even by kissing. In several ancient cultures, primarily the Celts, women were used as spies. These women were usually beautiful, and familiar with the enemy's wants, desires and habits. Once studied, the enemy could be seduced or turned into a zombie-like creature or, if a wider scope of attack was needed, the water supply could be poisoned as was done against the Romans by the great British Queen Boadicea. The poison maiden label came about by the use of kissing as a method of toxic application. The woman would build up her immune system by taking small doses of poison over many months, or until her saliva was deadly enough to kill a Shetland pony. Simply kissing this woman would kill a large man. A pinprick coated with the blood from a poison maiden would also kill overnight. The same technique was used by Celtic warriors to contaminate their spear and arrowheads. Feeding a poison in small doses to an older horse, and then rubbing the spearheads with the horse's blood, amounts to an early form of biological warfare. Even a slight nick from one of these spears or arrows would disable an enemy soldier, rendering him too sick to fight in the next day's battle. Rebecca Brown, M.D., author of He Came to Set the Captives Free, is well versed in assisting those coming out of satanic and black magic cults. She points out that objects, much like alien implants inserted under the skin, are designed to act as object links or even poisons in their victims. In voodoo, these implants are made of sharp chicken bone with the hollows filled with toxins. In the Orient, bamboo slivers are used. Brown describes several different types of inserts that are used in black magic, including biochip implants. She asserts that these inserts are used as object links, a type of anchor to connect the magician to the victim. The aliens use both physical and virtual implants in similar ways. Their methods are high-tech, but their motives can be just as injurious. Most alien inserts are placed directly under the skin in an area difficult to self-inspect. In essence, the implants are used as anchors, which keep the victim under control. Some believe they are being activated through subsonic radio waves and extra-low frequency signals. But whereas the medieval or early Roman poison technology will kill or stun the victim, the alien technique is far more sophisticated and is designed to control and track the victim, even during dreams. Etheric implants can act as homing devices. In the case of the aliens, there is an intelligence involved that will trigger reactions in the abductees in response to certain thoughts and behaviors. For example, one abductee started having severe pain in her implant site while on the way to a UFO conference where information on abductions would be discussed. Other abductees have suddenly come down with angina and chest pains before support group time, so they could not attend. Other reactions are the sudden onset of a trance-like state or sleep while at lectures where sensitive UFO subject matter is being discussed. Many have reported the onset of a severe headache while searching for a book on abductions or related UFO material. This implies that the aliens can register the thoughts of their victims by distant viewing, either psychic or electronic in nature. Also, like black magic, the reptilians can use personal items of the targeted individual to allow them easy access to their physical space. These items are referred to as object links. One abductee of the reptilians was instructed to decorate their home with Gothic-style objects and crystals, presumably to facilitate an interdimensional portal entry into the home. Bill and Sharon Schnoebelen, authors of Blood on the Doorposts, describe one couple's discovery of small blue curse pins scattered throughout their home. These objects were used to create an interdimensional portal for the demonic entities to harass the newly converted Christian couple. In this case, the couple had defected from a satanic cult and were experiencing a type of reprisal. These reprisals have also been reported in persons who channeled powerful demonic beings, after they decided to give their lives over to Jesus Christ and stop channeling. Both physical and etheric implants have the effect of controlling the abductee. Some researchers such as Bill Baldwin believe that these implants are nothing more than attached alien entities or even demons. The reptilians may use etheric implants to connect and control the abductee through their sexual chakras. This is reminiscent of how Cupid's arrow works in mythology. Chapter 24 Sex Dreams and Cupid's Arrow. Many abductees report dreams that resemble being invaded or pierced by an alien presence. This is similar to the image of Cupid shooting an arrow at the targeted lovers. But beyond Cupid, we also see that each of these abductees reports having gone through some kind of training, leading to bonding with targeted love partners. I call these sessions Cupid's arrow sessions. These experiences take place in vivid dreams that feel as if they are stage managed. But clearly the Cupid's arrow scenarios are a form of the love bite overall plan, except instead of being bitten, the victims feel like they were struck dumb, like being injected with rohypnol and morphine or some other mind-numbing drug. It is difficult to discern whether some of these Cupid's arrow sessions are actual physical events, or some kind of mind-controlled stage-managed dream. This has been postulated in a previous chapter as an astral melding done by the abductees themselves, but under the triggered programming of the aliens. In either case, the perceptions of the abductee are seriously altered or manipulated, making them think their abduction experiences are dreams or a type of virtual reality scenario. In Angelina's case, she finds herself tranced out and lost in another reality, complete with physical sensations. In these abduction dreams, various humans in lab coats, military-type personnel and occasionally aliens, instruct her in training scenarios, military combat, parachuting jumps into water, telepathic exercises, and medical emergency techniques, all to be used when the end of the world finally does arrive. To test the abductee, the aliens are notorious for presenting erotic dream images to the subject, especially depicting sex acts that they might not normally perform. In a few cases, the aliens projected erotic sex with an unlikely partner. In the sexual training sessions, Angelina has found herself in a generic hotel room with the targeted love bite partner on a queen-size white bed. Telepathic messages and sexual ideas are directed towards the couple. They are urged to have sexual relations until a substantial bond is created. Most often, the abductee will recall or experience these sessions as vivid dreams. On several occasions, Angelina found herself in abduction-related training sessions with her friend Scott, who is also an abductee. In their echolocation, they were both placed in a mock war situation where their mission was to retrieve something important amidst a number of distractions, one of which was the temptation of a sexual scene. Sophia recalled 2 bonding incidents in a stage-managed dream where she believes her reactions to stimuli were being monitored. In one of the bonding scenes, Sophia found herself in bed with another male abductee whom she detested. The prop consisted of the same generic hotel bedroom with white bed sheets and pillows. The targeted male partner was in a trance-like state, screaming about a painful procedure that was just done on his temples. This bonding scene was similar to one described by Janice and Alex. Sophia felt sorry for him and touched him gently to ease his pain. She felt a strong physical desire to be close to this man, but refrained from sex. The noteworthy thing about this experience is that it was a mutually shared dream with another abductee friend of Sophia's. Although Sophia knew the man she was set up with in real life, she was too embarrassed to ask him if he recalled the dream. Sophia's friend observed the bonding scenario as Sophia did, but the friend saw the humans in lab coats sending the sexual suggestions to Sophia and the bonding partner. She also remembered some kind of silver light beam that was used to do the painful procedure to the man's head. Both Sophia and her friend woke up very tired, with a headache and thirsty the next morning. Not alcohol-related, Sophia remembers stage-managed dreams with another male who also recalls bonding dreams of her. Although their dreams and experiences were different, both had the impression that they were being set up for the bonding in real life. Likewise, Sophia found herself in a stage-managed dream which tested her feelings toward the targeted partner, as if the drama directors were trying to figure out what kind of mannerism Sophia would desire in this man if he was to be her lover. James, Darlene, Angelina and Scott have also experienced mutually shared dreams. On one occasion all four were present in an abduction dream, whereby several abductees were instructed by alien greys to lie down, while covered with a wet substance. The greys were observed to be humans by one person, yet Scott saw them as greys. Angelina asked the doctor what they were doing as they injected a warm, almost hot liquid via tubes into her forearm and wrist veins, and the other abductees present. The doctor replied that this procedure was to mimic the near-death experience, to see how you will handle it. Other elements that were mutually shared in this dream were a pool or lake surrounded by a hilly green lawn area and a concrete checkered sidewalk near a camping area. Darlene and James recalled the distinct sensation of hot suffocating and near panic while in the dream. Scott awoke that next morning with wet, slicked back hair. He did not go to bed with wet hair, and needle marks in his wrist area and forearms in the same place where Angelina remembered seeing the injection take place. None felt sick the next day, and it is my belief that this mutually shared dream may have been an actual physical event, albeit with distortions. Darlene and James have had several mutually shared training dreams. One such dream was being placed or locked in a dark storeroom, like one that would be behind a large grocery store. Darlene recalled that in the dream James kept on trying to convince her that this was an abduction, while Darlene kept denying this and continually replied, "No, it's just a dream." Both realized they could not get out of the dark room, and so she told James that the only way to escape would be to astral project. They both concentrated their mental energy and projected themselves out of the darkened storeroom. Darlene and Scott recalled being placed together with their close-knit group of 5 other abductees, in a variety of dream situations in which all experienced emotional extremes. For example, in one scene one person was very angry with another, then in the next situation they were in joyous laughter, love, grief, and/or pain together. The net effect of the training was to become closely bonded to one another by interacting under high emotional extremes. Many abductees are sensitive individuals who can discern the difference between a normal dream, an abduction scenario, or even a stage-managed dream for the purpose of testing and training. Sometimes the alien testing themes extend into the daily life of the abductee. For example, a male abductee, named Chris, was shown the image of a woman he was to meet later, a woman he had been bonded to in previous experiences. The woman's face was impressed in Chris's mind so he would recognize her. When they met, the woman also had a bonding experience with Chris in a dream. When the two met, they had a strong attraction to one another, although both were married to other partners. The emotional and physical attraction was difficult to resist, and they had the perfect opportunity to have an affair. It was as if their meeting one another was orchestrated so that they would experience the opportunity and temptation to spend the night together. Both decided not to follow this compulsion. As Chris left town, he received a telepathic message. The message from the aliens was, "Congratulations, you passed the test." At that point Chris knew that his life experiences were set up at times by the aliens for the purpose of testing him. Many of the virtual reality scenarios depict future apocalyptic disasters, including major earthquakes, starvation and homelessness on a mass scale. Angelina is instructed to decide upon a moment's notice, which persons are to be chosen for survival in secret locations, and which ones are to be left to forage for themselves. The selection process was based on the person's usefulness. For example, a doctor may be chosen above others because he or she has special skills that can help others. Some of these exercises involve knowing how to operate firearms, planes, UFOs, and decision-making under extreme duress. On one occasion Angelina awoke the next day to find that her legs were tired and sore, as if she really took part in the training on a physical level. In addition to this combat training, Angelina and other abductees have described being told they can breathe underwater or in tanks containing a special liquid. Some have described finding themselves in large locker room facilities with other abductees, sometimes nude, waiting in lines. Many are told to use their psychokinetic abilities to move objects, psychic healing, telepathic communication, and even dual consciousness exercises while out of the body. The key to accessing hidden information about abductions is to crack the lucidity barrier and understand how one's dream imagery can be juxtaposed amidst a true core abduction experience. This experience may take place in a physical realm or in an alternate reality. While writing this book, I plan to visit Angelina to retrieve more information regarding her recent abductions and training exercises. Several days before making the trip, her children suddenly came down with the flu and we had to cancel until the next weekend. The following week, Angelina noticed an unidentified man taking a quick snapshot of her as she was looking out her kitchen window. He left his white unmarked pickup truck behind the backyard fence, with the engine running, as he quickly took the picture. Then, within a half hour, Angelina finds that she is very sleepy and wants to take a nap. She lies down for a short nap and immediately falls into a comatose state in which she can move her eyes, but no other muscle in her body. She tries to break the paralysis but cannot. She hears someone in her room rustling through her chest of drawers, taking something. She awakens later to find that her 3 dream journals are missing. A human being had entered her house, but what was he after? What was in the dream books that could be of use to the human helpers? Some very sensitive abductees can discern various levels and types of bonding experiences. At least 3 female abductees have reported that in certain states of consciousness they could sense the energy field of the targeted love partner around them as if they were interacting with them in the flesh. This relatively unknown concept is known as telethesia. These do not seem to be hallucinations, but a type of psychic connection. It is remarkable to note that for the women who reported these virtual reality love-making encounters, the other partner responded in some way, in real life, as if they recalled the interaction, even if only on a subliminal level. Were they linked, as in a relational database, a computer program that communicates with its separate parts automatically, or did the aliens orchestrate each and every level of communication, as if to censor and control everything? Both abductees who experienced the bonding connections were too embarrassed to ask the corresponding partner if they remembered anything unusual. But in both cases the targeted partner either called, corresponded, or did some deed out of the ordinary that signaled some kind of interaction may have taken place on other levels. In Sophia and Dave's case, both were in tune with one another's feelings. If one was thinking, fantasizing, strongly about the other, the recipient partner would sometimes sense a correspondent physical sensation. In psychic research and in work with twins, this phenomenon is sometimes referred to as the Corsican effect, after the famed novel, The Corsican Brothers. In that novel, twins separated at birth felt the presence of the other, even without the knowledge that they existed. This effect was also observed with Angelina and Steve. Could the aliens be manipulating the sexual energies in which these kinds of perceptions are sensed? Can the love of one partner be so strong as to create a near physical sensation in the beloved? Cupid's arrows seem to catalyze a whole cascade of synchronistic connections, and supernatural events. In the case of Sophia, the intensity of love and depths of despair brought her to a much deeper intimacy with her true beloved, who she described as a fatherly trinity figure. This spiritual survival mechanism helped her stave off the side effects of the abduction and seemed to catalyze a profoundly spiritual experience. In mythical terms, to become struck by Cupid's arrow means a love spell has been cast. Such may have been the case in Sophia and Dave's relationship, whereby Dave believed that his independent dream character was an aspect of Sophia, like a twin alter. This twin could have been sent to indwell or activate Sophia through a series of deliberate lucid dreams. Conversely, Sophia's telepathic dreaming may have enabled her to pick up on Dave's romantic ideas, which in turn incited her to fall madly in love. The arrow works both ways. Mia Adams' story demonstrates an elaborately orchestrated bonding drama between an abductee and an FBI agent, codenamed Jordan. Jordan experienced a love obsession, whereas Mia maintained a non-committal role. Both Mia and Jordan were watched by government operatives, FBI, and other clandestine groups during their relationship. Their relationship seemed to be the key point of interest for an alien experiment involving human bonding of people who share synchronous energy fields or common genetic material. Or specifically, mitochondrial DNA, which can only be passed through bloodiness maternally. As a researcher, it is my opinion that human government and alien intelligences cooperated to a certain extent in this human bonding program, so that, in this case, Cupid could easily be shooting for the governments of the world. Chapter 25 Agape and Cupid. Love is the greatest mystery of all. We strive to know it, experience it and feel it at its fullest. For the few who have experienced love at the hands of the aliens via the love bite, there was a price to pay. Once they felt the ecstasies of such an incredible love connection, it was difficult to break the obsession. Were the aliens trying to create love addicts so they can use the victims as a resource of energy? Agape love, unconditional spiritual love for another human being, and the human race in general, borders on mystical experience and is not dysfunctional. I believe an awareness of this kind of love is the perfect antidote for the love bite. Eros is considered more of a romantic love, yet with strong mystical overtones, having its mythical origin long before Cupid shot his arrow into lovers like Romeo and Juliet or Tristan and Isolde. Cupid, whose name implies a kind of randomized fate, is actually a Roman representation of Eros, the son of Aphrodite and Ares, usually depicted as a winged cherub armed with a bow and a quiver full of arrows. In Roman myth, Cupid is also called Amor and is usually imaged as the son and companion of Venus. It is amusing, in the context of the present discussion, that Eros was sometimes attended by his brother, Anteros, who is said to be the avenger of unrequited love. Some theorize that Cupid is actually a representation of a very old and widely disseminated archetype of the divine child, the offspring of a god or goddess coupling with a human. For example, the Immaculate Conception of the Virgin Mary with an angel gave us Jesus. In Persia, this archetype was Mithras, who was born holding a bow and arrow. He shot into the tree and a spring of living water sprang from its roots, the water of life. We see a similar miracle when Jesus strikes the rock at the marriage feast at Cana, and agape, to create wine. In Greek poetry, Eros, as a precursor of Cupid, was often a willful and unsympathetic god, carelessly dispensing the frenzies and agonies of love to unsuspecting victims. This is the kind of activity and behaviors instigated by the aliens who will match up two targeted love partners for the bonding experience, without much regard for the excruciating pain the couples may be forced to undergo. Both forms of the love bite were reported by several abductees mentioned in our case logs, as well as the many who have not yet been mentioned. In some of these cases, the love obsession brought the subject to the heights of indwelling with the beloved and to the depths of despairing grief. For example, the profundity of Sophia's mystical experience threw her into a creative frenzy of passionate prose, poetry and prayer. Her absolute grief from lost love plunged her into the abyss of helplessness, until she cried out to her Father in heaven. Sophia's answered prayer revealed a profound mystery. Not only did she prove her faith, she realized the power of prayer, and she was suddenly able to control herself and the obsessive behavior caused by the love bite. The Father figure in heaven asked her to be his spouse, to be married as a Catholic nun is married to Jesus. This is called bridal mysticism, and is well documented by numerous writers, not the least of which is Saint Bernard himself. In his profoundly spiritual work, De Diligendo Deo, on the love of God, Bernard of Clairvaux, 1091-1153, discusses the differences in the types of love acceptable to the Church Fathers. He is especially irritated by the erotic kind of love suggested by Abelard, and hopes that all women will subscribe to the purest spiritual love as practiced by the Virgin Mary. In Sophia's case, the Father commanded her to renounce her sexuality, even referring to it as molestation, and to redirect her fixation on Dave to a kind of maternal love. Sophia believed the beloved Father figure used Dave's image until she was able to feel a purer form of love. Only after this perfect love was achieved could the Father reveal himself to her in his true image, which appeared as a trinity of Father, Son and Beloved. In other words, Sophia found peace only after she saw herself as both the mother and bride of the Beloved. Sophia believes her alien orchestrated bonding experiences were a grand test from the Father himself. Or was this her way of coping with just another alien manipulation? For the first time in Sophia's life she knew what unconditional love and passion was. Sophia claimed to have come face to face with the archetype behind the beloved image described as the Don Juan archetype. She also had a powerful mystical experience with the Father and Son as one, a spiritual communion, a sense of agape. Thereafter she began to understand the true mystical meaning of Christ, and the sacred marriage. Some would say that Sophia's experiences were delusions, or that she was being duped, but to the best of my knowledge everything Sophia told me was derived from her genuine experience. After therapy and daily prayer, Sophia is no longer afraid and now believes that the Father will utilize a variety of beings, including angels and aliens, good or evil, to carry out the depths of human experience for his own beloved children. In this light it becomes unimportant who the aliens are, or what their agenda might be. The only truly important element is the realization of self as one with God, i.e., I and the Father are one, that lies behind a higher virtue, a form of selfless, unconditional love that cannot be affected by the love bite. That is not to say that the aliens directing events behind the scenes are a benevolent bunch, quite the contrary. Sophia beat the odds. In all the other cases, and especially in the case of Ted Rice, the aliens appear to be indifferent to our needs. We are humans, we expect them to be sympathetic, but perhaps they simply do not possess the capacity for love, as we know it. Janice and Sophia found their way clear of the love bite through following a path toward mystical surrender. In Janice's love obsession, her life almost fell apart. To put herself back together she learned unconditional love, agape, for another human being. In Sophia's case her family and her faith saved her. Chapter 26 The Cathedral of the Heart. The human heart is a muscle, with many chambers and twisted connections. When we say we are heartbroken, we usually are. Heartbroken people often experience heart attacks of a kind doctors find difficult to explain. Heartbroken people suffer far more angina pectoris than normal people and have far more problems in life. The greatest pain is of the heart. I believe there are some resilient souls in this world who have been graced with the divine gift of experiencing life at its fullest, with all its intense highs and lows. A friend of mine was taken on a special tour of Chartres Cathedral in the geodesic center of France. His guide, a well-known alchemist named Fulcanelli, told him a story which was reflective of the heights and depths of the human spirit. He was told that the cathedral itself, especially at the point of the baptismal font, represents the Sacred Heart of God, a heart, which is available to anyone who stands on this spot. Above his head rose the great spire of the sun, a spire, one of the tallest in Europe, that juts into the sky exactly 150 feet. In the opposite direction, beneath the pavement, his guide told him, a sacred well plunged the exact same distance into the earth. This well was designed to catch the rain, thought of as God's tears, that fell to the ground. The water in the baptismal font came from the well by capillary action and the font was never empty.